Did you guys know that homelessness is illegal now? Yep, they actually did that. They actually did. And another suspicious thing that I really don't think is a coincidence, our 13th Amendment says that you can legally be a slave to the state so long as you are incarcerated, in prison. And they just illegalized homelessness. 2 + 2. Do you guys get what I'm saying here? Point blank period. Illegalizing homelessness is just a way for the state to get free labor. If you do not support capitalism through employment, oh, you will support it through imprisonment. The state will make sure of that. And what's crazy is how easily that could be you, and that could be me. A lot of us are 1 to 3 financial emergencies away from being homeless. A lot of us are living paycheck to paycheck, and then on top of that, if we get a medical bill that we just cannot pay, we're screwed. Like, don't have a false sense of safety that that's never gonna be you. It could very well be you or me in a couple of months. You never know how things will turn out. I mean, like, the cost of living is skyrocketing. Wages are not going up at the same rate. Y'all, it ain't looking good for us. It's not looking good for us. You know how easily that could be us on the streets? And even if it will never be you, we all collectively need to learn empathy for the people that society has taught us not to empathize with. We need to unlearn the rhetoric that homelessness is a punishment for addiction, a punishment for mental illness or disability or poverty. There should be no punishment for those things. There should be treatment, there should be support, there should be help, not imprisonment. Help! We have a system that creates problems and then blames us for portraying symptoms of said problem. If our cost of living exceeds our wages, what the fuck do they think is going to happen? People are going to be homeless. But instead of looking at the system that puts millions of people in that position, they would rather just incarcerate them and get free labor out of them, all while painting the narrative that it's their fault. And the collective using rhetoric of, oh, don't make eye contact with them. They're just an addict. They're gonna spend this money on drugs. First of all, what if they just wanted food and water? What if they needed that money for survival purposes? And even if they were an addict, does that give you the right to turn your cheek and be like, oh, that's unfortunate, but not my problem, and then go about your day? No! That's your fellow human being suffering every day of their lives. You get to come to your house, turn on your AC, drink your water, make a meal, but they don't. You get to be ignorant, but they live it. They can't be ignorant. It's their life. You are ignorant. Not every homeless person is homeless because they're a drug addict. There's mental illness, there's disability, and there's poverty. Those are some other reasons for homelessness. Not everybody is an addict, but even if they are, they deserve no empathy because they couldn't afford rehab, which by the way is like $30,000 fucking dollars. Could you afford rehab? No. So warm your fucking heart for the people who society taught you to ignore. That could be you. After one financial emergency, wouldn't you want someone to care about you too? I know you would want someone to care about you if that was you on the streets. So care about people. Do you seriously think somebody who is just simply homeless deserves the living conditions that there are in prison? Do you seriously believe that? Free labor, no sense of identity, no privacy, no freedom. Do you think that they deserve that just for being a part of the system as the system has designed them to be? It is not their fault. And you people need to unlearn the narrative that it's murderers and sex criminals that are in prison. It's people who are poor. It is the poor who are in prison. It's people who couldn't pay their way out of a fine and then had to do prison time. It's people who were homeless. That is who's in prison. And yes, I know that there are also terrible people in prison, but how many cases have we seen that have made the news where someone has done something absolutely horrific and got no charges, or got like maybe 3 fucking months? Meanwhile, someone in there smoked weed and has like 20 years left. Like, it's so backwards, and you guys accept these horrible living conditions for them because you assume that it's just a prison full of all these horrific people, when it's really just people like you and me. It's the poor. It's not murderers. Baby, that's the ruling class. That is our politicians and our president using our money to go fund a genocide on Palestine. They are not what's filling prison. It's you and me that's filling prison. It is so easy for you to say robbery is wrong and they deserve to be in prison, but let me ask you, why did they commit robbery? Because the system makes us poor people have to do these things to survive. Yes, it's unethical. Yes, it's wrong. However, it is not the problem. It's the symptom of the problem. The problem is capitalism. As long as capitalism lives and stands as it is, there will always be robbery. There will always be all these things that you're jailing people for. The system is the problem, and yet we're punishing the people. You can punish as many people as you want, but the problem will never go away because we are not the problem at its root. If you fix the fucking system, the problem goes away. But the ruling class would rather teach us to dehumanize each other and not care about prisoners' living conditions and not care about who's in prison and lie to us that prison is full of all these horrible people when it's really not. It's just full of the poor. Why are our own people being subjected to these living conditions? Have you heard of the Stanford prison experiment? One of the most famous studies in existence. It was a study where there were two groups of students. One student group was the prison guards, the other was the prisoners, and they were allowed to interact with each other in any way that they would like. And yet, the prison guards would speak in demeaning and dehumanizing ways to the prisoner group, and the prisoner group was experiencing emotional distress to the point of crying, acute anxiety, and that was just a simulation, and they didn't even do the study for as long as they intended for. It was supposed to be a 14-day study. They had to end it on day 6 due to the mental health of the fucking prisoner group. Like, it's that bad even in just a simulation, and yet we're subjecting our own people who have just been a victim of the system to that. We should care about their mental health. It's not fair that people have to live that way and then the rest of society just blames them for it and turns their cheek and pretends that that problem doesn't exist. It does exist. Those are people in there, some of which now have only done the quote-unquote crime of being homeless. And you're subjecting them to that for months and years at a time when the study couldn't even get past day 6 without emotional damage happening. Can you fucking imagine? What if that was you? What if you got laid off, couldn't pay your rent, got evicted, and now you're homeless, and now that's illegal, so now you're in jail, and your mental health is being destroyed every fucking day, and the general public doesn't care? All because the general public assumes that the majority of people in prison are hardcore criminals. Maybe that's the minority of people in prison. Let's be real. Let's be real. Do y'all remember when a fucking Arizona private prison decided to sue the state because the state wasn't giving them enough prisoners? Yeah, prison is a business for free labor. Yeah, it's a punishment for the poor, not for criminals. I'm sure when prison was being proposed for the first time, it was probably something like, hey, this dude's killing everybody, we can't have him out here. Like, I'm sure it was really just to get dangerous people off the street, but it's become something so far removed from that. The homeless do not deserve prison. The poor do not deserve prison. No matter how many times you get mad at somebody for stealing, yeah, stealing's wrong, however, it's going to continue to happen because the system has designed it to be that way, because they need more prisoners for more free labor. Y'all, it's not their fault. It's a problem, but it's a symptom of the bigger problem, which is capitalism and the 13th Amendment working hand in hand, fucking us over. But we need to stop blaming our fellow human beings for being exactly as the system designed them to be. Instead, we should turn our attention towards capitalism, towards this broken system that repeatedly breeds this behavior. The system designs things to be that way. If you don't like thievery, look at the system, because no matter how many times you arrest someone for stealing, there's gonna be someone else because people are poor and they fucking have to steal. Look at the system, and that is where the conversation should be. Not on the individuals, on the system. Alright. That's all for today, and